Hello and welcome to In Search of Purpose with Sal Hanvey. Welcome to this week's podcast with Sal Hanvey, In Search of Purpose. And in Search of Purpose this week, I have the great pleasure of inviting Sam Conway into the virtual studio. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, not too bad, Sal. Pretty good. Good. Are
you enjoying the sunshine there, it looks?
Yeah, just sort of been out in the garden working, so pretty much every single day. So, yeah, loving it actually. Perfect weather.
Yeah, so obviously being in lockdown with the COVID-19 situ, you're making use around the garden, and I'm sure Emmy, your wife's very, very pleased to have you around, as well as getting stuff done that she's looking at that really wants done, or things that you can't get doing because you're obviously going to work and you're obviously consumed quite a lot with that. So what sort of stuff are you getting a chance to do around the house in lockdown at the minute?
Generally all the stuff I'd normally do at the weekends. So I've been doing all the wall work and, you know, the painting outside, all that sort of thing that I've been desperate to get around to do for 3 years. So it's actually starting to come together quite nicely. I'm quite pleased. You know, we're quite lucky. Obviously, we're very lucky because we're not living in a flat. We're living in a, you know, nice sort of open, you know, quite a large garden, and, you know, I've got the whole landscape in front of me. Gosford Park, I'm staring at now. We're quite lucky. The only thing is we've obviously got the farmers now starting to spray the field, so we've got the aroma.
Oh yes, that's right. You have to look forward to that. So Sam, thank you so much for coming on the program today. What I really wanted to start by asking you is, could you just, for the purpose of people who are watching and listening, could you just tell us a bit about what it is that you do and what brought you to the line of work that you're in?
I'm a special effects supervisor for film, for television. I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. I used to come in, I got into it through my father, who's also a special effects supervisor for film and television. I used to come in when I was a kid. On memories, I suppose the earliest memory would be about when I was 9 years old, going in, making some pyro charges. Yeah, just used to love it. And then when I studied fine art university, when I left, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I needed the money, so I knew what I could go to. And I've been stuck in there, you know, ever since.
Ever since. When you use the word stuck, obviously very lightly, because you do love what you do. And you know, a couple of bits and pieces that I'd like to ask first is for the purposes of the podcast, just to tell people who your dad is for a start.
Yeah, my father is Richard Conway. Richard Conway is a famous supervisor, special effects supervisor, who used to do quite a lot of the Monty Python films. He did quite a few Terry Gilliam stuff. He did some work with George Gibbs, who did Temple of Doom. He's done a lot of model work. He started off with Derek Meddings on Thunderbirds and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a well-respected man in the industry.
He's also done, as far as I can recall, the blood in the elevator in The Shining. Is that correct?
No, that's a weird one. I'm not sure where that one came from. I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Oh, I thought he had. My mistake.
Yeah, no, I might have got that wrong, but I don't remember him telling me that. But he might have told someone else that. I don't remember.
So your dad has retired, and you know, you kind of then went working with him, and then you get into it yourself, and you've ran with it ever since. So what sort of, if you just want to explain to people what is special effects to someone who doesn't really, because whenever we have conversations about this, people have different misconceptions about what it is actually.
So special effects is generally you could make it a bit more of a longer title by special physical effects, which explains it a bit better. The confusion lies in most people think that visual effects is special effects, but visual effects is visual effects. Special effects being physical means that we basically are kind of experts in pyrotechnics. We make the set explode, or we reproduce things in a physical things that actually in effect for a film or for TV, which means it's safe, which means it still has the big scope of for example, a petrol station exploding. We can achieve all that sort of stuff. We also work a lot with hydraulics. We work a lot with pneumatics. We make what we call gimbals. Gimbals are basically hydraulic platforms where, if you had a boat at sea, for example, we can make that boat appear to be in a storm. By the hydraulic rigs we use all sorts of things. We use atmosphere as well. We do a lot of atmospherics. We make it look like a foggy day or a smoky battlefield. We do rain. We do snowfall, snow dressing. What else? There's a hell of a lot. Bullet hits, blood gags. Anything that's in camera is what we specialise in. Where VFX add to it, they generally add to the scope because it's all too big for us to do the whole battlefield, for example. But we do as much as we possibly can in camera, to the best of our ability for the director.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that obviously special effects is just someone sitting on a computer every day, just literally making up CGI and making up different bits and pieces of computer generated imaging is the term. But you're frontline doing it for real, blood, sweat and tears, in different jobs. And that's what I wanted to lead on to. You moved to Northern Ireland because you're clearly, with that accent, not from Northern Ireland, and you are from England. Whereabouts in England are you from?
I was born originally in Essex, and that's where my parents lived, and eventually moved to sort of the west side of London area, and then I got to come out here to Northern Ireland. I came here about 16 years ago on another film called Closing the Ring. It was a Richard Attenborough. Yeah, Richard Attenborough. I always get the two brothers confused. Richard Attenborough film, war film, and it was set actually in Canada, but it came over for a time to Belfast, and that was about 16 years ago. And I kind of loved it then, and then got the opportunity to work on Game of Thrones. Oh dear, I don't know how many years now, 6 years, something like that, can't remember.
Yeah, that's what brought you here essentially, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what, when I came back, it was all weekended, and the good feeling I had, and it was obviously a lot different 16 years ago. And this time around, it was like, oh wow, this is becoming really exciting, like a really exciting place to be. And I love the people, it's such a good fun atmosphere.
It's hard to beat us, man. It's hard to beat us.
Yeah.
So
humour, that's fantastic.
Well, you actually you came over originally and sort of was flitting back and forth, with no particular fixed abode until a couple of years ago, until you decided to actually move here. Isn't that right? So you moved here and you just thought, right, this is where I want to be, and you continued working on the Game of Thrones. So tell us a bit about your work in that.
Well, yeah. So, cool. What are we doing there? Well, obviously, Thrones is winter's coming and all that sort of thing. So we did a lot of snow, lots of battles, so lots of blood, lots of gags there, and of course, we had dragons. Dragons don't exist, but they're big, and they do a lot of destruction. So we did a lot of miniature work, a lot of miniature work being if you can't achieve the full scale, what you do is you shoot it in a smaller scale, like a third scale or a half scale, and you know, it sells its, you know, it gets comped onto the image by visual effects department.
Okay.
Do plenty of that. We did lots of stunt burns as well. Tremendous amount of stunt burns. I think we did 250 stunt burns in the last season, which is, you know, basically we created this gel and we painted the gel on the stunt guys and, you know, lit them all up, exploded pyro next to them, lit them all that way, hit them with flamethrowers, whatever we could, you know, to get them going. We had a full size set to burn as well on a daily basis for, you know, 2-week period or whatever it was, 3-week period, with hundreds of extras running around it as well, which is pretty. It was basically, Game of Thrones started off as quite a kind of, you know, interesting kind of, you know, atmosphere, not too much going on, the odd occasional gag, and then as it developed, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it became a monster. And there was the production designer, Deb Wiley. She said that all the way through, every single season was just getting us geared up, trained up for season 8. So, you know, that's kind of it has been and still to this day, the biggest effects job I've worked on.
Well, it's also essentially the biggest job in the world, or it's the biggest, the most popular show in the world, and you basically headed up the special effects team for that and picked up a few awards in LA in tow, isn't that right, Sam?
Yeah, got a few, yeah. Yeah.
Don't be shy.
I got 3.
3 Emmys, just 3.
I haven't got one head sitting here like, you know, a random one sitting over there, you know. Yeah, I got 3 Emmys and then 3 VES awards, which is like a lovely award actually. It's a Visual Effects Society award, and it's not as like well known as the Emmy, but I quite like that. Well, but I want to be able to do it without the crew though. I mean, obviously, you know, they have a lot.
Well, I mean, that's how we met. So I just wanted to talk a bit about how we met. So you were in Belfast one night, you and Ellie were out. My partner Jack just so happens to work for you, and he wanted me to come and meet you both, and that was the start of a friendship.
Yeah, that's it.
It's pretty much it.
In the pub.
In the pub Ether and Echo, which is no longer, and we can't go and see the Unholy Gospel anymore. They're amazing.
Yeah, I know. Well, pubs general, you know, there's no pubs at the moment.
Well, yeah. To the point that you know, when things return to somewhat normal, we all should get together and try and find a gig where they're playing. That would be a really good one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? The things that you take for granted, all the bits and pieces.
I know, absolutely. Yeah, and you totally miss it, don't you?
We'll go next Sunday up. Well, there's always next Sunday, and now it's just like weeks are rolling by, and you know you've got a nice little outside wee bar at your house anyway that you made yourself.
In it right now, actually, really enough. You're sitting on the bar at the moment, and I'm sitting behind the bar.
Okay. Can I have a gin and tonic, please?
Yes, certainly, madam.
Oh, I wish. I'm actually on a cleanse, literally on a liver and kidney cleanse for 3 weeks on day 5. So.
Oh dear. I suppose you timed that okay, haven't you? Really, that'd be worse if you went on it just before you go down the pub, isn't it?
Well, totally, and that's the thing exactly. But I'll definitely be down for one whenever this is all over as well. So, how are you coping with lockdown, Sam? You know.
Yeah, fine. It's it's you try, and if you do go shopping, if you have to go shopping, you leave it as long as you possibly can. Because you don't want to do it, but you know, and when you do, it's a weird experience. You know, you follow all the guidelines and stuff, but it's not a comfortable experience. You know, when you come back from it, you don't know what you're doing. You know, you've got to wash everything, and it's feel really strange. But coping, coping. Financially, not coping. But
Who is?
mentally coping. Yeah, definitely mentally coping.
Well, that's good at least, you know, and I suppose when you're in a nice space and it's good weather and you're making use of the time by doing stuff around the place, I mean, it just makes...
Yeah, I was really lucky because before it all kicked off, I've been, you know, occasionally bringing bits and pieces home. I've actually got quite a good stock of materials to keep me DIY.
Brilliant.
DIY going. So, you know, when it all kicked off, I've had heaps to do, and I haven't stopped.
You just keep them going.
Yeah.
Good. And when it comes to watching films and stuff yourself, what sort of stuff are you into? Are you into completely different things than what you work with, or tell us?
Actually, I'm more into kind of TV programs and stuff at the moment.
Like what?
Well, Ozarks, obviously.
Amazing.
Ozarks, and don't really do a lot of TV. My wife's over there. I'm looking at her now. TV, do we? Narcos. Oh, Narcos, yeah, Narcos, yeah, Mexican Narcos.
Yeah.
And the other bits and pieces, I've got a terrible memory because for names of those things, because I watch them and they all become a bit of a blur after a while.
Yeah.
But films, I don't know, just anything that's just, you know, it's going to keep me in the seat and entertain me for a little while. Sometimes I'll go for a special film, you know, like I say that special film, independent film, you know, something that's got a bit of thought behind it. Other times I'll go for something that's really just bums on the seats and mindless crap, really.
And what about with regards to the best show that you've ever worked on? I mean, maybe it is Game of Thrones, is it?
I think the Thrones experience, there'll never be another one like that.
Yeah.
It had so much money behind it, and you know the things I was allowed to do. I don't think I can ever experience that again. So if I forget about Thrones, think about another type of job. We used to do a lot of stuff. We used to do a lot of the jobs for Danny Boyle. And I was watching a bit of 28 Days Later the other day. It's something that we did years ago. And that's a special film. That was a good film to work on too. It was very low budget, and that was Danny Boyle and his creative mind. And I remember every morning we used to sort of turn up on the back of the bus, the catering bus, and have a meeting about what we're going to be doing for that day. We all had schedules and stuff, but it was how we're going to do it. And you know, Danny would sort of say, "Oh God, I'd really like if we could just do this, do that." And I go, "Okay, I've got some stuff in the back of the truck. Let me rip it apart and put it back together again. I'll show you, and then you see if you like it." So we spent a lot of time just doing that, just making it up in the back of the truck.
Brilliant.
Coming out on the set and then shooting some kind of blood gag or something, you know. Like the vomiting mouth, that was all made in the back of the truck. Like, you know, that's what he wanted to do. And it was like, fuck, okay, so okay, we'll see what we can do, and we'll come back with something. And then we did.
So it's really creative job in the sense that you're not sort of handed something, told to do it in a certain way. You know, you have to come up with really creative, innovative, unique ideas in order to make something work. Yeah. Yeah,
you do. You think on your feet. You have to think on your feet, and that's what makes it really enjoyable.
Yeah, it changes all the time.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever sit down and do an office job.
I really don't think so either. And you know, when it comes to, say, the Game of Thrones, what was your most favourite part that you worked on within that then?
I think the nice one was the loot train. The loot train attack. You know, season 7. The first time you see Drogon attack, you know, an army. That was good. It was a lot of stress, a lot of good stuff. Good thought went into that, you know, and it came out looking fantastic and a lot better than I think we all imagined, really. And it got used so often in that whole sequence. That one strafe one. That you know, it's a very very proud moment, and it went really well, went really successfully, and that was thinking on our feet as well, because we had a spider cam going over. We had to get the timings right, and we had to get it all, you know, that took a little bit of fucking around, as we call it. You know, R&D, what we call it, fucking around. And we got the timings right, and sure enough, when it happened, it all banged off. One take, bang, bang, fantastic, many angles, and totally safe and very pleasing.
That's great. And what sort of places did you go throughout the world? You went to Iceland. Where else did it take you?
Phones. I think Phones went to Morocco in the early seasons, and then yes, it went to Iceland. I just went to Croatia and Spain, and obviously Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
But yeah, other jobs take me further afield, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's interesting that most of it was filmed in Northern Ireland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like obviously, it's a recurring common discussion throughout a lot of homes in Northern Ireland about how much business and, well, until this happened obviously, but the business and the tourism and the job opportunities and the economy, how the Game of Thrones gave so much to Northern Ireland with regards to revenue and all of those things. And it was definitely a point of change in Northern Ireland with regards to job potential, opportunity, people working together, different religions,
Yep.
no one caring about anything. You just get down and you get to work. And then when that job comes to an end, a lot of people have to try and find work elsewhere. Have you found that that's quite difficult?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we all knew, it doesn't last forever. We all knew that, but as you say, it was fantastic how it opened up Northern Ireland to the film industry and TV industry. I mean, there was obviously stuff going on, but it made it a bigger competitor.
Yeah.
Because the crews that were developed throughout, and then the things we achieved, on a filmic level, because it was all filmic level. It was big money spent behind and all that, as I said before. But I suppose, unfortunately, it doesn't. What we don't want to do is it starts slipping back into the kind of like, we just do TV things. We want more things coming over.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally were just about to start shooting a film. Can't really talk too much about that, obviously.
Yep.
But just before the COVID, isolation thing started. But once it's over, then we'll go back to that. It's very encouraging because it's a big picture, and it will put Northern Ireland back on the map for film. And that's what I want to happen. I'm encouraging anywhere I can Northern Ireland as a good place to make films.
Well, exactly, because you obviously love it here so much that you moved here, and and your family and everything, and it's great that that you have got good faith and strength in the situation, and that was before the whole COVID situation. It won't be here forever, touch wood, and hopefully things will just return back to normal, and then we all can get back to watching really, really good movies, because obviously there's going to be a gap now to a certain extent. Or do you think that they're going to make things faster?
No, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because it certainly will have prevented, productions completing, and then because obviously you get it, you film it, and you film it in a physical sense, and then it goes off to post production where it gets worked on. So we don't realise is when you finish filming, you might not see what you've made until a year later.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a massive gap. So there's a bigger chance that there will be this kind of gap where we're trying to fill it with reruns, reshows and stuff. I can't imagine. I don't know. It's going to be a weird one. It will definitely be weird. We'll be watching more reruns of the Friends.
Yeah, because like you've never, obviously, no one's ever experienced this gap ever.
No.
So this is all very new. I remember watching a lot of the Monty Python movies and different bits and pieces like that when I was a child. I grew up in a house with two older brothers. I had no clue what was going on in the movie because I was so young. Sometimes I still don't really know. This is a very particular type of humour. And also, I think your dad also worked in, was it Indiana Jones?
Yep. Temple of Doom, it was.
Temple of Doom, that's right, you said earlier. That I absolutely loved, because we owned a video shop in the 1980s. It was an independent video store. before Blockbuster, before Extravision or any of those things
Oh,
came in, when there was that
yeah,
small window of like 5 years or something. And
yeah.
I love it. It's very fascinating to me because I share that experience with Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
His
yeah, yeah,
parents owned a video shop in the 80s,
yeah,
independent store. So yeah, I love that idea. But I can remember watching the likes of Indiana Jones because I had two older brothers. So you're in a house full of action, full of movies, full of action all the
yeah,
time, and I absolutely loved it.
yeah.
And what was the most exciting thing that you worked on then with your dad before you kind of moved over here?
Uh, I suppose what I used to really love doing is when we used to end up doing model work. I really enjoyed doing the model work with him, because of his experience and that. But it meant it just a different way of doing things. And it was a real kind of like, it was a lot freer, and it also meant you kind of really understood how it was all going to come together. More so than you do the physical full size things. I think it always felt like it was much more imagination involved.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed doing stuff like that. I can't remember exactly what film it would have been, or TV programs it would have been.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do remember doing a lot of that. I remember enjoying that. And then I did other things as well. I went with Ian Greengrove and did some stuff with him.
We had a little visitor there, a wee cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's lunch.
No. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. So I do like doing the model stuff actually. I'd like to start bringing a bit more of that back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's one of those sort of skills that a lot of people are, not relying upon anymore, because there's a lot of, oh, we'll do it later, we'll do it in post, attitude, where we can achieve this and we can do it cheaper if we did it in camera. It just means it limits them and they schedule problems and all that sort of thing. But I always try and push for a bit of model work. So yeah, those times with Dad doing stuff like that, I enjoyed.
That sounds great. And when it comes to lockdown and the situation that we're all in, is there anything that you're taking from it? I know obviously it's a really bad situation out there, and obviously it's extremely negative with regards to what's happening in the media, talking about it and so on. But is there anything that you're taking from, apart from just doing stuff around the house? Is there anything that you're taking from the break, Sam? Because essentially you work a lot.
It's literally just, it's kind of a selfish thing. I'm doing the things that I want to do for the house.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Well, obviously, I think that probably, I'm relaxing a bit better, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm always a little bit like, legit nervous.
So you're just becoming a bit more at peace and a zen zone. Is Ellie giving you some meditation?
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. The whole point I'm living here is because every time I sit outside, I just stare into the yonder. My mind's already like hanging out. And of course, I do that more often now. So.
Yeah, exactly. And whenever lockdown is over and you get to go somewhere, where's the first place that you're going to go that you really can't wait to go to?
Well, basically, I need to go and see my mum and dad. I need to go and see my best Johnny as well. My dad and Johnny are both doing chemo, and it's like it's not the best of times to be unable to go and see them. So I'm desperate to see them.
Yeah, that's really frustrating, and they're in England, so it's not like you can just nip down the road either. Yeah, so that's and just I can't wait to give people hugs.
Yeah, that's going to be a weird one, isn't it?
Oh,
having that 2 meter distance now, we're getting kind of like
I know, when can we actually get? I know, and we're such huggers, all of us. You just think like, when's the oxytocin going to get flowing here?
Yeah.
It's like the hug.
Oxytocin, I'm going to use that. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, oxytocin is the hormone that's released through hugging. Like we're probably all quite low in oxy at the moment. you know.
Oxytocin.
That's one way of working on it.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I'm a hugger. Like, you know, I cannot wait for
Yeah.
hugs. That's the thing. And obviously, you know, hugging my mum, like I just want to give my mum a big hug. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's definite. And what about restaurants? Is there any particular place? Maybe not, but is there any particular place you think, oh, I can't wait to go there and have some food?
No, do you know what I really want? Actually, I want everyone to come over and see all my lovely work I've done and
Yeah,
appreciate the outdoor cinema I've made,
the
the lovely barbecue
cinema.
area, the
Right.
fire pit, and you know, all those bits, and the pizza oven, got all that lot. I want to make sure everyone can come over here and have a bit of a laugh with us. That's what I want.
Oh, I know, I know. That would be amazing. And you
Yeah,
know, the reality is that, like, you know, we're probably just going to have to just maybe do virtual parties for the next wee while. I believe you've been doing some Zoom
yeah,
parties and stuff like with different
yeah,
people. I suppose this is what you have to do, isn't it? It's just like
yep,
change. What I don't like about it, you know, as much as you make the most out of it, is the energy. You know, you're losing that kind of, I think, a lot of the time, the energy of just being in people's company. You know, and I think that we have to do this remotely in order to make it work. But obviously, a lot of podcasts are done in a studio environment that looks like a radio station, and you're just sitting at one
yeah,
end of the table to the other end of the table, sometimes with cans on and then a microphone, and it feels like you're in a radio station, but yet the sound audio is really good and the visual obviously is there from it being filmed. So
yeah.
you know, the fact that obviously a lot of them are now, you know, any podcasters are moving to this format because they have to, but a lot of them are actually finding it really quite good because they're not paying any overheads, any rates. They're not having to
Yeah, that's
drive
right.
to the place, you know.
And it kind of sets a new genre, doesn't it? Though,
Mm.
when you watch, you know, Russell Howard or something like that, and he's doing this, you know, everyone's you got his screen split and all that sort of thing. You know, it's a new genre for me because you know, I'm of the age group where, you know, I don't really do the computer talking malarkey.
You're
Well, I
doing
am
a
now.
very good job of it, Sam. You're doing a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good
But
job.
when we used to do FaceTime, I think I remember just sort of just staring at the screen for ages, without actually talking because I didn't realize what I was supposed to do. Like, oh, it's me.
Well, we're keeping going rightly here anyway. So, with
Yeah.
regards to, you know, I've often meant to ask you what your earliest memory was of working in the industry that you do. I mean, what was your earliest memory of this is why I want to continue doing this?
Uh, I think it might have been Brazil, actually. There's a moment in Brazil where it's a model effect again. It was these towers that come out of the ground. They punch out the ground really fast, and that was a model sequence. And I remember being there on the day and setting it all up, and then, you know, dressing the set and all that sort of thing, and then watching it happen, bang. And I
Mm.
thought, wow, you know, this is so good because it's destructive, and you've got to spend a lot of time making it look really nice. And when it happens, it's bang, and that's it. You know, and I kind of thought, well, that's brilliant. My mum's always called me a destructive person, so
Your
it's
mum
just
has.
yeah. She used to say that, you know, take everything apart or break it and all that sort of thing.
Well,
She
you're
used to say, oh,
definitely in. Well, you're in the best industry for
yeah.
breaking things and being destructive for sure. And was that early on in the career, that Brazil episode?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't working then. Obviously, I was working for Dad, so it was like one of those sort of like school holiday type thing.
Mm.
But yeah, uh, that's when I kind of thought, well, I wouldn't mind doing this. You know, this looks like fun.
And then moving into adulthood and, you know, being fully immersed within the special effects industry as a supervisor, what would be the sort of the number one moment of clarification to you that makes you think, I really, really know why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this.
I've always had the buzz. There was always a buzz when, you know, when you do a big effect, and it's all takes lots of time to prepare and all that sort of thing. and then the stressful nights, the sleepless nights before you actually do the effect, and then when you do it and it's a big effect and it's fantastic and it looks really good and everyone's really happy and everyone's really safe. My heart used to, just before the effect, my heart used to slow right down and I could see everything a little bit clearer.
That's
You know, like, you know, maybe I was speeding up and everyone else was slowing down, that sort of thing. You know, you could kind of see it all happening. Everyone was really, you know, slow, and when it would happen, it would be the euphoria. Kind of used to knock me for six sometimes, you know, be like, knackered. But yeah, that was the buzz. I think that was the adrenaline buzz.
Oh, of course, yeah, exactly. You would have had plenty of that, and then obviously you would be knackered because you were doing like 14, 16-hour days sometimes, weren't you?
Yeah, no, it was, yeah, that was, thankfully it's a little bit better nowadays, but when I grew up through the industry, I don't know how many hours a week we used to do, but it was, I remember people used to say, oh God, we do 70 hours a week or whatever, and I think, well, that's okay, isn't it? It's quite nice.
Wow, that was like a normal.
We used to do the Saturdays and the Sundays as well. We used to go out on location. We used to go and work on Saturday and a Sunday. So we used to do 7 days a week, whatever, you know, however long we had to work for. So when I used to come back from locations, I was knackered. You know.
And then now that you're living over here, and you've obviously moved somewhere completely new. There's loads of places around that you can travel to. Is there any particular place, maybe Gosford Park? Is there any particular place that you love now that you've moved here to visit?
Wow. No, there's many. Yeah, Tullymore. Tullymore. That's beautiful. That's beautiful quite a few times the year. Do you know what? I don't think I've been there during the summer. But I like it during the autumn. I like it during the winter, and I like it during the spring. And obviously the coast. You know, I think the Mournes. When you're surrounded by the Mournes, it's, you know, you can't beat that. I mean, I used to work in a lot of these places too. You know, from phones, they used to phone me everywhere around these places. So get to see them that way, and it kind of, you know, you see the beautiful, you see the bits that the public don't see, because obviously you wouldn't be around in some of the places that we've been, you know. And then you appreciate it more. And then I don't know, God, I couldn't think of one particular single place. I don't think.
So many beautiful places, but you like Gosford Park and stuff like that too. And
I do. I've been looking at it. Yeah, it's right there.
it's just right there.
And
then, and then Tullymore, it's the forest park down near Castlewell, and
Newcastle, near Newcastle.
Yeah, near Newcastle.
Yeah, literally, you're looking over Newcastle pretty much.
And the Sleeve of Gullion as well. That's quite nice.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Where did we go? A few weeks. Well, yeah, that's where we went. Yeah.
Gullion.
Yeah, we walked up there. We nearly made it to the top. Fred went to the top. We're halfway.
No, it is. It's absolutely beautiful. And the thing is that you can actually, obviously, with your living where you are, you haven't this necessity to kind of get out and go places the same way that a lot of people obviously have got, like the 1 hour a day restrictions and stuff like that. But you're so lucky to, you know, literally be on the foot of all these beautiful places to be able to go and to visit, you know.
To be fair though, I've literally not left the house to really, you know, just I've got so much going on during the day. I'm here the whole time, and that's fine. It suits me just fine, because I know I'm just ticking things off the list. I know that when it's all done and I've done everything here, and then I can sit back and relax, which I probably won't. I'll probably do something else.
I know you're like me, you're always at something. Well, I really wish you the best of luck getting back into everything that's happening after everything that's happened, and getting back to work. And then obviously Northern Ireland, hopefully we'll just, you know, be able to get to that position where a lot of jobs become available for people, and the industry starts to boom again, and the industry starts to thrive again, and that we all can just get back to normal as much as possible. Sam, thanks so much for taking the time out on this beautiful sunny day from your lovely bar outside your house.
Good job you haven't got smell-o-vision.
What's right?
Good job you haven't got smell-o-vision.
That's right. Oh yeah, because the farmer's in the field.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I know you're right. I'm really glad about that. Thank you so much, and take care. Have a lovely evening. And if anyone wants to check out any of your interviews and stuff like that, they can check them out on YouTube, can't they?
Yeah, there's plenty on there. Yeah. No idea how you. I think just look up my name. There'd be
Just look up your name and there'll be different bits and pieces
yeah,
if you want to go
yeah,
on and
yeah.
see. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks. Okay, thank you again, and take care. Have a great evening. Cheers, Sam.
All
Thanks.
right. Hello, Jack, for me.
Will do. Bye.
See ya.